You know, the other night I was playing Project Cars 2 and I discovered an absolutely fantastic and fun combination. We are at the Mugello Circuit, an Italian track which was added in the most recent DLC, the Ferrari DLC pack for Project Cars 2. Now, if you're a regular of the Forza Motorsport franchise, you'll be very familiar with this track, as this is one of the mainstays in that franchise. Though it's the first time it has appeared in a Project Cars game, and frankly, this is kind of the forgotten Italian circuit. A lot of times when you say Italy and racing track in the same sentence, you think of Imola or certainly Monza, and both of those are in this game. But Mugello is a pretty nice track. It's a pretty decent layout, and it certainly doesn't get as much love as it probably deserves. However, I feel that Slightly Mad Studios really did a fantastic job on this track, particularly at night. I mean, this looks absolutely gorgeous. And remember, I'm on Potato Xbox One, so just imagine what this looks like on PC. As you may already be able to tell, we are doing a 20-minute GT3 race, and I am going to be piloting this Mercedes AMG GT3 car. It's got a fantastic sound, but it's a very tricky car to drive. Very heavy, the front end pushes quite a bit, and what's also interesting is that I've begun experimenting with racing on the harder compound tires rather than going straight to the soft compound, and I've actually found it's a very rewarding experience, especially once you get the hard compound tires up to temperature. It's a lot of fun. There's less grip, but it's not uncontrollable. A lot of racing games, when you put on a harder compound tire, it just makes the cars absolutely a handful and not very fun to drive. Not the case in this game, and so we will be driving with the hard compound tires, 100% AI. I think they're on 70% difficulty in terms of the actual aggression. This will be a fun race. Stay tuned. So we're ready to get underway here at Mugello, or Mugello. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. I'm sure those well-versed in Italian will let me know down in the comments below. But regardless, the lights are coming up. We're ready to go for 20 minutes of GT3 action. The green lights are on, and we're racing on this very wide front straightaway here at Mugello. You'll see 3 and 4 wide action, as you can see the Nissan already looking to the inside. The Acura is going down as well as we get on the brakes for turn 1. Got to be very careful in here. AI like to outbrake themselves into this corner, I've noticed. So if you follow them in too much, you may end up out in the gravel trap, as I give the Nissan just a little bit of a shot there. The Renault gets around. Now I'm going to be looking on the outside of the Nissan, down this little short chute before we get to another one of the chicanes. We'll just fall into line behind the Nissan. Whoa, almost ran into the back of the Nissan, almost ended up in its trunk there. Now we'll bully him outside, but he's going to be able to take that position for now. Down a gear into this little chicane complex, which leads us out onto the rest of the Grand Prix circuit. You've got to be careful of those kart barriers, the go-kart barriers out there that protect the regular or the small short circuit, because those things can be very deadly. Those two right-handers we just went through, very reminiscent of the Lesmo corners at Monza, though they're faster and they're more banked, so obviously it makes them a little bit more daunting. This is a lot of fun, this circuit. I kind of forgot about how great it is. A lot of times if something's been in Forza and you've played it a lot, you get jaded, but when you come back to it in a different game where maybe they've taken a little bit more care to recreate it, it really pops. So go through that chicane there. That's a very difficult corner in this car, particularly with its front engine design. You get a lot of push through corners like that. Now we head downhill. That corner, the final corner, reminds me a whole lot of the carousel at Sonoma, the kind of crest into downhill left-hander, very similar, as we drag race down the front straightaway, completing lap 1 with the Nissan, and the Nissan seems to have the legs down the straightaway, so he clearly got good BOP this weekend. Well, and there you go. See, I outbraked myself behind the AI. I went in where they did, and that was a bad idea. No bueno. Thank God they paved that. If that had been Forza 4, I would have been off in the grass. But it's almost like the designers of the Mugello Circuit know that sometimes cars go off at turn 1. Down to the chicane here. I find this particular corner you can make up a lot of time on the AI. They're a little bit timid through there for whatever reason. Down a gear, finding that apex. Just being kind of careful on the throttle application at the moment, just trying to warm the car up. It is fairly cool. It's a fall day here in Italy, and of course it's dusk as well. Oh, that was a bad corner entry, which led to a bad corner exit there. And that's going to allow the Aston Martin to take a look on the outside there. He didn't quite pull it off. It's very tough to pass, as you can tell on this track, not only for me, but for the AI as well. So that can work into my advantage in some respects, but it looks like I'm starting to close down a little bit again on the Nissan, finding the curbs, getting a little bit loose over that entry curb there on the chicane. Oh, I can get on the throttle so much earlier though than a lot of these guys coming down. I must be using a little bit more downforce or something, or just this Mercedes really likes that corner. Regardless, we're going to have a huge tow because of all these GT3 cars up in front, creating a big old tow down the main stretch, but I've got to be careful because otherwise they're going to outbrake themselves. They kind of did. As you can see, I even kind of did, despite braking much earlier than I otherwise would have liked to. Working around through the chicane, you can see they're all kind of slowing each other up just a little bit as I get over the curb, being a little bit aggressive and missing an apex. As you can see, this kind of racing is so tightly contested. Again, because of the fact that it is a BOP series, they really try to make sure that everybody's got the same thing, or at least the same capability. Though I understand in this game the Ferrari is a bit OP, they don't have the BOP quite right for that car. And in many esports and online leagues, that car has been banned in the GT3 class. Kind of interesting that even in video games you can end up with cars that are just too good. So down into third gear, just using the car. Nice grip from this GT3 car. Remember, these cars are designed for doctors and lawyers to drive them. That's not to say they're easy to drive or drive on the limit, but they are quite comfortable. As I'm getting down the main straightaway here, again looking at the four eyes of the rear of that Nissan, getting it all the way up into sixth gear, really benefiting from the tow. Oh, and really getting a good run. You can see what a good run can get you in turn one. As I'm going to be underneath the Nissan, got a little bit into him there. Oh, I just pushed out into him. That's one where I'd be going after the race to the driver and apologizing for that one. A little bit of a racing deal, though, I have to say. Hopefully the stewards would see it that way, though I don't know if the stewards in Project Cars are really looking for avoidable contact. Probably should have been in second gear on the exit of that chicane. Didn't quite trust the car for whatever reason. I didn't feel like it was going to behave. So I kept it in third gear. Well, I had a shot at the Renault there if I hadn't been a little bit timid. So now we'll have to work through these corners. Just use a little bit of the exit curb.
Okay, we've got some pressure coming from behind. Start thinking about the fence.
And that Nissan is a very good car. Ooh, too much curb. Too much curb. And that is the thing with this car. You can get the front end to really bite as well. It's a pushy car. But as you can see, it can go into pushy loose, especially if you get those curbs wrong, which I did there again. I don't want a repeat of the GT1 video, so let's hope that that doesn't happen. And certainly, I can tell you that these cars are a joy to drive. after having driven the Porsche 911 GT1 car from 1998. This is like a world of difference. It's no wonder drivers that competed in that era have such a long shelf life, because what is a contemporary race car these days is quite a bit more user-friendly than what was used in the 80s or 90s. Using these corners to my great effect. Starting to close down the Renault just a little bit. I don't think that's technically a GT3 car. I don't believe it's allowed in contemporary GT3 racing. I think it's a VLN special. And if you don't know what the VLN is, it's the series that exclusively, I believe, races on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which is the preparation, or which are the preparation races for the Nürburgring 24 hours. They have all sorts of wacky rules where cars from the 70s can enter, crazy one-off prototype style GT cars like the Glickenhaus, which is in the Zeta Corsa. At some point I'm going to do a video on that car because it's very interesting. But all those different kind of wacky cars can enter, and for whatever reason the people at Project Cars decided that they'd add the Renault to the GT3 class, as well as it having its own class in the game. So that was an interesting talk about a car that is pulling away from me at the moment. But I've got a good corner for myself coming up here. Driving a nice line through there. Didn't even use the exit curve, despite the AI doing so. Now we're going to be finding turn 1. And I think this whole first sector I'll be able to make up a lot of time. I've kind of lost the draft at the moment, so I'm not getting any benefit of the tow. You can tell because I'm not getting up into 6th gear. I'm not gaining those revs that I had been gaining earlier. But the advantage is that I enter the corner a little bit slower, and I can brake a little bit later. You can just see how much time I gain through there. That little chicane, coupled with turn 1, still missing that apex a little bit. And you can see how it screwed me up on the second apex of that chicane.
That's your best first sector so far, 9-1.
And despite that, as you heard, still my best first sector today. Just a little bit of a lift through there. I think you could probably take these two flat out. I'm not taking too many chances right now. Woo! It's a little early in the race, as you can see. Even lifting, you can end up using a little more exit curve than you otherwise would. Again, using too much exit curve. Keeping the car in 3rd gear there probably wasn't the best idea in the entire world. And it now looks like the Renault is challenging, I think that's an Aston Martin out in front of him. A couple of Aston Martins in this race. I'm actually surprised to see as many of those cars in this race as there are. There's nothing worse in this game when you get a GT3 race that is 99% those Renault cars. Because then you're like, oh, I'm at Long Beach, I'm supposed to be pretending this is a Pirelli World Challenge race, and there's Renaults all over the place. It's kind of like the GTE class in this game, where it's mostly Corvettes and Astons, and you know, it's a Christmas miracle if you get a Porsche. Thankfully, Porsches are much more common in the GT3 class because there's just simply more paint schemes to choose from when the AI gets randomly handed a car. And again, I need to comment on just how lovely this time of day at this track looks like. It's actually a bit lighter. It's about an hour earlier in the day than when qualifying was, which you saw the opening footage in this video. Just this time of night, these cars, the reflections, the headlights, the lighting of the track, it's just fantastic. Really, really good stuff. And I'll be honest, The Ferrari DLC is not the most overwhelming thing in the entire world. I think I mentioned that when I did one of my videos on it. But having done a bunch of races now at this track, it's probably worth it just for Mugello. Which is weird to say again because I think, you know, it's no secret that the community really wanted it to be Sebring or something along that line. And we're jaded a little bit, again, having this track in games like Forza. But it's really good. I mean, it's just exceptionally done. It's great to have... There you go, we're on target, okay. It's great to have tracks like these, which previously you couldn't race at night, you couldn't race at rain, and be able to do it. That's one of the best parts of the Project Cars franchise, in my opinion. Alright, let's see if we can close down on this Renault. Early braking into there. Putting the car on edge just a little bit, using quite a bit of curve. You heard when we were about to start this lap, there were 7 minutes to go. So just over halfway completed. And you can see all the front runners still staying together as the Renault, I think, got on the grass there to try to make a lunge on the Aston Martin. Didn't quite work out for him. I missed the first apex there to that chicane. Down 2 gears, start looking for the apex. I really am liking this corner. I always make up a lot of time through there. I just don't know. It may be the AI is taking a bad line, but that corner's a lot of fun. I feel like I always really nail it quite well. Of course, in practice, I went off there quite a few times, as you do, all the way up into 6th gear. Now, there's the advantage of the toe. A few hundred revs, and there you go. Again, making the mistake and not braking early enough. The AI may be running on soft tires. That may be why they can brake that late. Who knows? I mean, it's obviously open to them. They can choose those tires if they like to. There's no way to turn that off. And honestly, I don't mind if I have to play it on hard mode. As you guys know, a lot of times I have the AI on 120, which you all complain about. But you'll never get any better if you're never challenged. At least the way I think about it. Alright, so now we'll start taking a little bit more risk. Too much risk. I think I got my tires dirty because the Nissan started to close in there. In fact, the whole field is starting to close up. So this could be an exciting final few minutes of this race. Find those curbs, find those curbs. Thank you. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Big slide. Alright, get on the throttle nice and early. Probably could have gotten on it even earlier, just catching the outside curve there, meaning I probably have a little bit more throttle application I can use there. There's probably about 3.5 laps to go. I'm not sure exactly how this is all going to work out. It all depends when the leaders catch that white flag. So 6th gear, get it all the way down into 2nd. Much better through there that time. Field's starting to close up here. Oh yeah, here we go. Closing in on the Renault. We almost need him to make a mistake to really have a good opportunity at him, because there's really not a passing zone. All the way through here, you have to really take a risk if you're going to pass somebody. That time I didn't go off the track at least. Third gear, a little bit of curb usage. Kind of back that corner up. Try to get a better exit. Car sliding around just a little bit on me. Just trying not to use too much curb that time. There we go, much better. Don't want to upset the rear end of the car. Probably 2 laps to go. I really went in deep that time, and it looks like I'm going to be rewarded. I've got a really good run on the Renault here. Pulling out and making the pass. Have I? We're side by side. He's got the toe off of the Aston Martin. 6th gear. He's going to outbrake me down here. Gotta hope he makes a mistake, which he does. I'm going to drive around the outside of him. Send it on the inside. Box him out. There we go. Up position. Now we're going to be getting up behind the Aston Martin. Lost time through there. Interesting. I should have probably stayed in 3rd gear. Thought the Aston might be a little slow through there, but he wasn't. Now I'm going to have to hold off the Renaults through here because it's not my best section. As you can see, out on the curb, thankfully he got held up a little bit. So he's not in a place to challenge me into this chicane. On the throttle, we'll see if, I think we're going to have 1 lap to go this time around. Using those curbs a little bit too much. Here comes the Renault. He's making a lunge. I'm going to have a way better run. Little bit of push. Little bit of push. Not going to have a great run on the Aston Martin down here. If this indeed is the last lap, we'll have to see. As we cross the line, yes, it's the checkered flag. Darn. I would have liked 1 more lap. I think I would have had a challenge for the Aston Martin. But that was a lot of fun. Very competitive. As you saw, I think we came home 5th. So not bad. Not bad considering that was a 20-minute race. I think I started 9th. So all things considered, pretty fun. In fact, I think that's an officially liveried Aston Martin. Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. Cool. Historical accuracy. I love it. So it looks like a Bentley ended up winning. In fact, Bentley won too. There you go. Get it, Bentley. And then we go to an Acura in 3rd place, taking that final podium spot. Then we go to an Aston Martin. Then it was me in 5th place, as I expected. And then we go to the Renault, the Nissan, Aston, another Renault, it looks like. Then we go to... Oh, no, that's not a Renault. That's an Audi. And then a Mercedes, Audi, Porsche. Then the Ginetta, which is another interesting car that doesn't race a whole lot in real life GT3 racing. It showed up at this race and got last place. So that was GT3 action at Mugello. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know it was an enjoyable experience for me. That's why I knew I had to do a video on this particular car, track, condition combination. Look at that. Look at the cars spread out into turn 1. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Looks like I made a little bit of contact with the BMW there, doesn't it? Regardless, yeah, this was a lot of fun. So if you did enjoy this, you enjoy your endurance racing, your GT racing, your project cars too, your racing sims, your motorsport content, you are in the right place. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you liked it and leave a like on it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about it. Have you tried this? Have you tried Mugello? What do you think of GT3 racing in this game? It is a lot of fun, certainly. It's almost as if this was kind of one of the things that they really focused on in this game, and I think it was, because I think it was the thing they were demoing at the E3 conferences and whatnot. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.